Hello everyone. Vanakkam, Namaste. I am Sathya Gowthaman, a fine artist. I paint the sculptures on canvas, especially the Chola bronzes. So I was born in a spiritually inclined middle-class family in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, you must be aware, is very rich in culture and heritage. It has around 5,000 plus ancient temples scattered across the state. And it's also called as the temple state. So for those of us born in the 1970s and 80s, the main source of entertainment was visiting these temples. So we used to visit these temples built by the Cholas in Tanjore and Kumbakonam, the temples by the Pallavas in Mahabalipuram, Kanjipuram, Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, so on and on. And hours would be spent discussing amongst the family about the magnificence of these temples, the grandeur, their architectural marvel, and the grace and beauty of the Chola bronzes and sculptures. So I had a special attraction towards the Chola temples and architecture. Cholas, for information, they ruled most parts of South India and parts of Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka, during their peak between 8th to 13th century AD. That period was also considered as a golden period, as art and architecture prospered the most during that time. They built around 2,000 plus humongous temples of Dravidian architecture in and around Tanjore and Kumbakonam. And many of these have been declared as World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. Over here, you can see the pictures of Brihadishwara temple built by the great king Rajaraja Chola. This is in Tanjore, Tamil Nadu. And the other picture is Airavateshwara temple built by his great grandson, Rajaraja Chola II, in 12th century AD. I was very much in love with the Chola sculptures, especially the bronzes. Chola bronzes are known for their beauty and elegance, their lifelike quality, grace, intricate details. So while the main deity, called as a Moolavar in Tamil, remained inside the sanctum sanctorium. This was made of granite. It remains inside the sanctum sanctorium of the temple. Between 7th to 8th century onwards, portable idols were made as a representation of the main deity. So these idols were initially made in wood and then later on in Panchaloha or bronze, owing to the longevity. So these were beautifully decorated with silk and adorned with jewelry and flowers and carried outside the temple to take part in the processions, daily rituals, and temple festivals. This was done so that the deity is accessible to everyone. Over here, you can see the picture of Kallarahar, a form of Vishnu. He is beautifully decorated with silk and adorned with jewelry and carried outside the temple. He is made to cross the river Vaigai in Madurai to attend the wedding ceremony of Meenakshi and Sundareshwarar. A representation of Parvati and Shiva in Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. Some of the most beautiful and celebrated bronzes, you can see them. This is the picture of Chidambaram Natarajar, a dancing form of Lord Shiva at Chidambaram temple in Tamil Nadu. And Vaduvur Kodanda Ramar, considered as the most beautiful of all Ramars in South India, of course. So these Chola bronzes were made using the lost wax technique. This technique made sure that every bronze is unique, every Panchaloha idol is unique, as the mold is broken once the sculpture is made. And this technique was mastered by the artisans in a tiny village called Swami Malai in Kumbakonam, a small town in Tamil Nadu. And it's extensively practiced even now there. And these were done according to the Shilpa Sastras, the ancient science of art and craft, passed on to us through ancient texts which guides us in temple architecture and sculpture making. So as we spent our childhood visiting these ancient temples, I developed a deep interest in art and archaeology. So anything old and antique interested me very much. It made me more curious to know about the past, to connect the dots with the present, to celebrate our culture and heritage. And I was also a bit natural with art and sketching. Though these were my areas of interest, I was convinced to take up the stereotypical subjects. And I ended up doing agriculture engineering, though I had no connect either with agriculture or engineering. Marriage and then my husband's career took me across various cities in India. But I continued to brush up my skills in art, doing different part-time classes, trying out different mediums in art. But archaeology just remained a passion. So I got the opportunity to reconnect with my passion when we relocated to Singapore. This was in 2012. I did a part-time diploma from one of the art schools in Singapore. And I was also fortunate to meet my mentor there, who advised me that if I needed to take art seriously, then I should stick to a theme, preferably one with a social message. So Chola bronzes was my natural choice, as I wanted to celebrate our culture and heritage, reconnect with my passion in art and archaeology. I started researching about Chola bronzes online, and I shortlisted a few which I wish to paint. This is the first painting I made of Chola painting of goddess Parvati, inspired by a 10th century Chola bronze. This Chola bronze, when I painted her in 2016, she was located at Christie's Museum in US. A painting of Jnana Sambandar, a dancing Shaiva poet, saint from Tamil Nadu, inspired by a 12th century Chola bronze. This bronze was at the National Gallery in Australia. A painting of goddess Parvati again, in her Tribhanga pose, inspired by a 10th century Chola bronze. And this Chola bronze is located at Saraswati Mahal Museum, Tanjore. A painting of goddess Annapurni, a form of Parvati, inspired by a 10th century Chola bronze. And this bronze was with an art collector when I painted her. So during my research, I realized that many of the museums in India had a very large collection of Chola bronzes, like the one in the Egmore Museum in Chennai, the Tanjore Palace Museum, the National Museum in Delhi. They all had a very large collection of Chola bronzes. Many of these bronzes were found buried underground. And since there was no information on which temple they belonged to, these were displayed in our museums for the general public to appreciate our culture and heritage. But I failed to understand why so many of the most beautiful Chola bronzes, which I wish to paint, were all in museums abroad. And some of them even openly posted up for auctions in countries like US, UK, Australia, Netherlands, France, etc., etc. Why were they having our artifacts, our religious idols, our cultural heritage? It was more like a possession they were displaying, whereas it's celebrated and worshipped in our country. This was very hurting. I also made some visits to the temples in Tamil Nadu to experience the bronzes in person. And I heard some shocking stories from the villagers there about temple thefts and bronze idols being stolen from ancient temples. I continued my research, and I found some news articles like these, which spoke about temple thefts in villages from ancient temples, and the presence of these same smuggled bronzes and idols and antiquities in museums abroad. My stay in Singapore also helped me connect with a few key members of a team who are working towards retrieving these bronzes, or idols and antiquities, from museums abroad. They were working along with the Idlewing team in Tamil Nadu and other state police team from India. And all this at zero cost, and this was a very big inspiration for me. I also happened to meet a few expat Indians who were ignorantly purchasing many of our artifacts, our bronze idols, our religious idols, from museums abroad without checking on the provenance, without realizing that they have been smuggled from our own country. So I decided to display my paintings along with the image of the original Chola bronze and also details regarding its current location, its original location if available, so that this raises awareness amongst the people about a lost heritage and the importance of preserving our inheritance. So this makes people aware that while the museums abroad display our cultural heritage, our religious idols as their proud possessions, our temples remain bereft of them. This is the painting of goddess Bhudevi, inspired by a 11th century Chola bronze. She is currently displayed at LACMA Museum in US. She originally belongs to Venugopala Swami Temple, a small village in Tamil Nadu, in Mannargudi. And she, along with few other idols, were smuggled from the temple in 1960s. And all of them have been displayed at LACMA US. A painting of goddess Bhudevi, inspired by a 12th century Chola bronze. This original Chola bronze is displayed at Museum of Fine Arts, Boston, US again. A painting of Trakshara Ganapati, inspired by a 11th century Chola bronze of Lord Ganesha. And this idol was with an art dealer in London until a few years back. He was sold in an auction, and since then, even his image is not available online. A painting of goddess Parvati, inspired by a 12th century Chola bronze. She is currently displayed at Honolulu Museum in Hawaii, US. And all these information is provided online for people to see it openly. So these kind of news articles about our antiquities being returned back is very reassuring. Thanks to the efforts taken by a few, India has managed to repatriate more than 2,000 plus antiquities, our religious idols, since 2013. You can see the jubilation and the celebration with which our gods are received on their return back to our country. A soul of a country lies in its culture and heritage. India has a very rich culture and heritage, a treasure trove from the past, which we should cherish, nurture, and give back to the society. This journey of reconnecting to my roots led me to the path of rediscovering myself. It also helped me connect back to my passion in art and archaeology. Thank you very much. Wish you all rediscover yourself too.